Mr. Edit Man presents. I once saw a mother walk into a classroom with a handheld radiation meter and proceed to tell the teacher that little Billy needs to sit in the back corner of the classroom because of the toxic school Wi-Fi radiation. What other bat malarkey things have you seen / heard of that these helicopter moms do? I work in HR at a large telecommunications company. We usually sit in the conference room and can see / hear the interview candidates while they are waiting in the lobby. This poor guy was probably 19 or 20 and his mother wanted to go into the interview with him. We actually had to ask her to wait outside the lobby because even after being asked to sit down she said it was her right to be in there. WTF. Guy did not end up getting the job. And she later called and asked where she could send an appeal letter. Wish I had saved that letter. It was intense. I went to a school where helicopter moms were completely normal. So many stories. But here's a more extreme one. When I was 7, I met my friend Sarah. Despite meeting my parents multiple times, Sarah's mother showed up the day before Sarah was supposed to come over to interview and inspect my parents and their home to make sure it was safe for Sarah to come over, and gave my parents instructions on how to make our house safe for Sarah. She'd also just randomly show up for some playdates and stay the entire time, watching us play in my house. Her mother came to school one day and pulled me out of class to tell me to stop giving Sarah money for the milk vending machine because the hormones in milk will kill her. And do you want to do that to Sarah? We had school from 8:30, 3:30, and then after school stuff until 5:30, and Sarah would only have lunch and one snack, usually fruit. They also managed her meals by making them up and laying them out in the fridge. Breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. Cupboards were not to be touched, ever. When we were in high school, age 14, 17, Sarah was not allowed to leave school property for any reason. We used to go out for lunch and had to leave her behind. No cat in the school. Despite only living about 2 blocks from the school in a really nice area, she'd have to wait until her mother got off work to pick her up, sometimes not until 6 p.m. She could not go anywhere by herself. Even at 16, 17, if we went to the mall, her mother would follow us around, saying just pretend I'm your girlfriend. Same with movies. On the rare nights Sarah was allowed to sleep over, her mother would personally visit around 10-11 p.m. to check on her. Her mother also had access to all her passwords, from MSN to Hotmail to some sort of dual phone, where her mother would also receive Sarah's incoming cell phone calls. When you phoned Sarah, her mother would listen on the other line. They also found any and all reasons to ground her, so she was not allowed to leave the house. Like, she was supposed to clean the kitchen every day from age 10. From washing dishes after their meals to mopping the floor. Once she accidentally left a fork in the washing machine and was grounded for 2 weeks. Sarah ended up drinking heavily during high school, went to university 6 hours away, and has yet to come back. I wish her all the best. I made a really great friend in high school. He and I were as thick as thieves. Early on in the friendship, my parents took us to a movie. I do not remember the movie, but the start of it got delayed by technical difficulties by about 20 minutes. My parents called from their cell to let my friend's mother know, but only got the voicemail. Thinking that would suffice, we all proceeded to have a good time. Fast forward to the end of the movie, my mom turns her cell phone on and discovers her voicemail box is suddenly full. 20 I believe was her limit. All of them were my friend's mother calling pleading for us to return her son, and she would pay any amount we demanded, and that if we called back soon she would not go to the police. She literally had thought we kidnapped him. Suffice to say, when we got him home only 20 minutes later than planned, the conversation was rather awkward. Her ducking what? Why did she think you had kidnapped her son? Did she not listen to the voicemail? She was just kind of a nutter to begin with. I could never figure out what went through her mind sometimes. My friend wasn't allowed his driver's license until he moved out either. My dad figured out exactly how long it took to walk home from school, as in literally walked it himself, and then gave me exactly that long to get home every day. If I was more than 5 minutes late I got a beating for ducking around. Then they got mad that I had no friends. And after a protracted argument and fight I got an extra 15 minutes to make friends after school. That winter, I got in a snowball fight and was having fun and did not realize it gone a little too long. So dear old dad drove to my school and started wandering around, bellowing my name until he found me. That was a blast. I believe this is the year after he stood in front of my entire class and told them to start being nice to me. I'm so glad I changed schools every year. There was a girl in my 5th grade class whose mother would take an hour out of her day to come supervise recess. Every 5 minutes, she'd blow a whistle and go, "Emmy, it's time for your shade break." And, just like clockwork, Emmy would have to go sit in the shade for 5 minutes. This malarkey got really annoying when we would play team sports. No one wanted Emmy on their team. Saw a kid, must have been 12 or 13, yelling at his mom in public about how he can wipe his own ass and did not need her help with that anymore. Her response, "But you cannot see it. How do you know it's really clean?" I felt so bad for that kid. When I worked at a coffee shop, a mother, with the most helium-like Winnie ducking voice imaginable, came and ordered a 7-step customized drink, and threw a fit when we just asked her to repeat it. Oh no, am I the bad guy? I'm sorry, I thought I'd be able to speak English. Then she goes, in the same Winnie begging voice, "Can my son have a job?" I hand her a job application. He already sent one in. "Can you just hire him?" "Hey, I don't want whipped cream on that. So can he have a job?" I tell her, if has sent in an application, hell get a call when the manager looks through the stack. We had like 20 applications at any given point. So has just going to be one in the pile? Yeah. That's not gonna work. Has a great kid. Just ducking hire him. Just to get rid of her. I write down her son's name and say I'll look into it. I hand her drink. And she leaves. My manager, who heard her screeching voice from the back room, immediately calls me over to see that kid's name. He digs through the pile of applications and immediately shreds the kid's application. His only words, "If we hire him, his mother's going to be here all the time. I once interviewed someone for an entry-level job. The next day I got a follow-up call from his mother. This kid had not made the cut. He did not interview confidently and did not enunciate very well, not good for a call center job. But I had not passed that on to HR yet. I told this woman a little white lie, though I informed her that he had been in the running. But since he cannot be counted on to do his own follow-up, he's clearly not the kind of employee I want. When I was in high school, I would go teach French to elementary school children with a few friends of mine. I used to do magic tricks for the kids because they would go absolutely ape malarkey and they all loved it. One day, I was teaching them and I told them I had a special trick. I did the Bolduxy levitation magic spoilers for them and they went ballistic. Afterwards, the teacher pulls me aside and sternly tells me that I'm lucky she did not throw me out of the classroom because one of the students, who happened to be absent that day, is, and I quote, "anti-Wiccan and diet and not allowed to view black magic." Had a helicopter mom who became one of the middle school's lunch monitors in order to help her kid make more friends. She would carry around candy and would only give it out to people that were friends of her child, literally denying others if she did not know them. You haven't not seen anything until you have seen helicopter hockey parents. They do not only hover over their kids, they encourage horrible sportsmanship. A few years ago, when my goalie brother was playing squirt AA, so about age 9 to 10, the opposing team equipped themselves with the age-old strategy of run the goalie. The coaches were in on this. The parents cheered bloodthirstily whenever these little jackasses rammed into my brother, and they kept this up more than they attempted to score. My brother had had enough. Poor kid snapped and walloped the next boy who skidded into his crease. The net area, which was totally justifiable by that point. This redneck looking woman and her husband immediately got up, started screeching about their poor precious Joey and get that goalie out of there. Ref. Eventually their whole cheering system was on their feet and yelling out obscene malarkey about taking my brother out. To 10-year-olds. They all got escorted out by security. You cannot make this malarkey up. I have a cousin who lives in northern Michigan, where youth hockey is a very big deal. My cousin was voted president of the league one year, and his first priority was to get the parents to only encourage good sportsmanship and friendly competition. He sent out over a dozen letters before the season even started to the parents of players throughout the league stating that any parent seen shouting profanity, encouraging violence or cheating, etc., would be permanently banned from all future games. The first round of the season starts, and it was a disaster. Parents were worse than usual, and several people were arrested at different games for fighting in the stands. Needless to say, the letters had not worked. So my cousin decides to hold a meeting for players and coaches only to discuss the problem. After having the police forcibly vacate a few parents who did not agree with the players and coaches only aspect of the meeting, he asked the players what they wanted to do. Most of the players actually said they did not want their parents to come to games. Most of them were not trying to go pro. They just enjoyed playing hockey and their parents were ruining it for them. So they took a vote at the meeting and my cousin sent out one last letter that simply said parents/step parents/foster parents/legal guardians etc. were no longer allowed at official league games. If a parent was spotted, that team would forfeit the game. If they came a second time, that team forfeit the season. My cousin got some death threats, but nothing ever came of it. Did not see it personally, but a few years ago there was an article in my local newspaper about a mother cleaning the vegetables she was cooking for her family in bleach. Did not realize she was doing anything wrong until one of her children nearly died. We know them as umbrella parents because they cover you from everything. Poncho parents are more extreme. Fear the parents that would not allow computer access without them right there. Put huge restrictions on TV, G or PG. Kids like 16 would not allow any video games, etc. Anyways, a poncho parent I know managed to keep her 16-year-old son under the delusion that girls are gross and have cooties. I'm a preschool teacher for ages 3-4 years old. One day, one of my girls, fake name, Abby, is playing with, fake name, Becky's security blanket during free time. Becky wants her blanket back, so she asks Abby to get off. Abby refuses, so Becky pulls the blanket from under her and Abby cries. I tell Abby that she needs to listen to what Becky is saying and respect her friend's belongings. I also tell Becky that next time, instead of pulling the blanket from under Abby, she should just come tell a teacher. Maybe 5 minutes later, while I'm passing out snack, Abby flips into a crazy rage and runs towards Becky, tackles her and takes a huge bite out of her shoe. Plastic literally came off. I pull Abby off and try as calmly as I can to ask her why the hell she attacked Becky. Basically, it was revenge for getting her in trouble and taking the blanket away from her. Now here's the mother part. I write an incident report telling both parents what happened and, of course, I put Abby in the thinking chair for such an outrageous attack and call her mom, leaving a message and whatnot. But the next day, Abby's mom comes in and finds the child that got bitten, Becky, and tells her that if she had not yanked the blanket from out under Abby, maybe she would not have attacked you. Of course, I asked the parent to leave immediately and to not speak to the children. That Abby was the one who attacked out of spite, and that her child's reaction was not an appropriate one that can be excused in my classroom. The mom got so mad at me for defending Becky, or 3-year-old, that she reported me to my supervisor for being unprofessional. I still have my job, but mom withdrew her child. But seriously, if you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. There is no more after this. Click the thumbs up button since you liked the video because you made it until the end. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch another video. That's it. I do not know why you are still here. What are you waiting for, a secret message or something? Maybe someday. Okay, fine, I will give you one. It is